Back-to-back snowstorms coming. Weather update: American cities number 123, 3 storms in a week. A massive winter storm warning is in effect for 15 states right now, as the polar vortex has slammed the door shut on the eastern half of the country. We are locked in a deep freeze, with wind chills set to plummet to a bone-chilling 30 to 40 below zero by this weekend. Just to give you an idea of the divide, there's a staggering 60-degree temperature gap right now between Phoenix, sitting comfortably at 65, and Boston, which is fighting just to stay above 28. This isn't just cold. It's a full-blown Arctic invasion. On top of that brutal cold, a blanket of 2 to 5 inches of snow is piling up all the way from the Ohio Valley straight through New England. And don't get comfortable, because an Alberta clipper is diving down from Canada, ready to deliver another round of winter misery by Friday, packing wind gusts that could easily top 50 miles per hour. But here's what has my full attention. Both the American and European models are lighting up like a Christmas tree right around Valentine's Day, a major storm brewing for February 13th. So let's break down exactly what's going on. Picture the jet stream taking a deep nosedive into the eastern U.S., acting like a massive pipeline pulling frigid Arctic air directly from the North Pole. We're seeing temperatures run 20 to 40 degrees below normal from the Great Lakes all the way down to the Carolinas. This pattern is the engine driving everything we're seeing, including the bomb cyclone that hammered the East Coast last weekend, knocking out power to nearly 200,000 homes. And believe me, we are far from done. This whole event is coming in 3 distinct punches, and Mother Nature isn't holding back on any of them. Phase 1 is already underway, with snow and ice spreading across the Carolinas and Virginia as we speak. Phase 2 is that feisty Alberta clipper I mentioned, which is set to barrel into the Great Lakes region on Thursday and Friday, bringing organized bands of snow and those wicked 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Phase 3 is the grand finale, a punishing Arctic blast that will bring the coldest air of the entire season. Let's zoom in on the Ohio Valley, which is right in the thick of it. Columbus is looking at 26 degrees with up to 3 inches of snow and some heavy icing, making travel a real headache. Cleveland, also at 26, could see 2 to 4 inches, with the lake effect machine kicking in to boost those totals. Toledo is in the same boat with 2 to 4 inches expected. And in Indianapolis, hovering around 28, the big concern is black ice, especially on overpasses and bridges. These are the sneaky systems that can catch you off guard. Please take it slow out there. Down in Louisville, it's 34 degrees with an inch of snow mixing with ice, creating slick spots. Lexington is dealing with the exact same messy setup at 32 degrees. The entire I-64 corridor, stretching from Louisville all the way through Charleston, West Virginia, is going to be incredibly treacherous tonight and into the morning commute. What's wild is that some of the high-resolution models are showing even heavier snow bands setting up over West Virginia, with double-digit totals possible. Moving north, Pittsburgh is at 28 degrees with 1 to 3 inches of snow and icy conditions. The Steel City has taken a real beating this winter, and this week is just adding insult to injury. If you have to drive anywhere tonight, give yourself an extra 20 minutes. Seriously. Over in Chicago, it's 28 degrees with 1 to 3 inches. But the story there is the wind chill, which is dropping well below zero. The Windy City is earning its nickname in the worst way possible. Detroit is at 25 with 2 to 4 inches in the forecast. The cold is just relentless across the upper Midwest. Lake effect snow bands are streaming across lower Michigan, hitting places from Grand Rapids all the way through Lansing. Milwaukee is sitting at a frigid 24 degrees with 2 to 4 inches of snow expected. And in Minneapolis, where it's only 18 degrees, the wind chills are so dangerously low that frostbite can develop on exposed skin in less than 15 minutes. That's not an exaggeration. It's a medical fact. The heartland is locked in a cold dome of air for days. The I-95 corridor in the Northeast is not escaping this. New York City is bracing for 2 to 4 inches of snow across all 5 boroughs, with the temperature hovering right at the freezing mark. Boston could see some of the higher totals, with 2 to 5 inches, and some models are even pushing it closer to 6. Philadelphia is looking at 1 to 3 inches, with Washington, D.C. at 34 and Baltimore at 32 degrees. That entire stretch from Richmond, Virginia, up through New Jersey is going to get clipped by this system. And hey, a special shout out to the person who commented that no one ever talks about northeastern Pennsylvania. Well, listen up, because Scranton and Allentown, You could actually see some of the highest snow totals from this entire system, so you are definitely on our radar. Syracuse is at 26 with heavy snow on the way. The mountains of Vermont and New Hampshire could also see some massive totals. Even Buffalo, a city that scoffs at snow, is going to feel this one, with lake-effect snow piling on top of everything else. Just think about this incredible contrast for a second. Detroit is shivering at 25 degrees, while Miami is basking in 68-degree sunshine. That is a 43-degree difference between two cities in the same country on the same day, and that gap is only going to get wider by the weekend. Up in Raleigh, Durham, and Greensboro, it's 38 degrees, but they're dealing with a nasty mix of snow, sleet, and icing. Charlotte is in the same boat, with 1 to 2 inches of accumulation possible. The Piedmont is in a real danger zone tonight. This is where things get tricky. The high-resolution models, like the NAM, are hinting at a quick glaze of ice developing across eastern North Carolina, especially around areas like Jacksonville, Kinston, and the Outer Banks. This happens when cold air gets trapped against the Blue Ridge Mountains, causing precipitation types to flip back and forth rapidly. It's these kinds of setups that people tend to underestimate, and they can lead to some really dangerous road conditions if you're not prepared for that sudden ice. The Southeast has been through the ringer this winter, and it honestly deserves a break. Atlanta is at 42 with a wintry mix in the air. Nashville is at 40, and Memphis is seeing sleet at 42 degrees. On top of that, dense fog advisories are up from northern Alabama all the way through the Smoky Mountains. Further south, things are a bit calmer. Montgomery and Jackson, Mississippi, are at 55, as is New Orleans. It's a breather, for sure, but still cooler than it should be for this time of year down in the deep south. And how about Florida? What a roller coaster of a winter it's been for you all. Miami is enjoying a high of 68 degrees today, which must feel downright tropical compared to the freeze warnings you had just a couple of weeks ago. Tampa and Orlando are both sitting pretty at 65. The one spot to watch is Jacksonville, at 50 degrees, where a bit of that wintry mix could still sneak in. It seems like one week you need a winter coat, and the next, you're back in a t-shirt. Enjoy this warmth while you have it. Let's head out west, where the weather story is completely different. Los Angeles is a beautiful 66 degrees. San Diego is at 62, Phoenix is at 65, and Las Vegas is a comfortable 58. While half the country is bundled up in 3 layers just to go get the mail, the Southwest is having a picture-perfect February. San Francisco, San Jose, and Oakland are all in the upper 50s. The only downside here is the lack of rain. The Bay Area hasn't seen a good soaking in weeks, and the drought situation is getting worse by the day. Just to put a final point on this wild national divide, Honolulu is at 78 degrees today, while Minneapolis is at 18. That's a 60-degree gap across the country. This isn't just unusual. This is the kind of extreme temperature gradient that fuels major storm development. The country is literally split in half, with a huge ridge of high pressure in the west bringing warmth and sun, and a deep trough of low pressure in the east, pulling down that bitter Arctic air and setting the stage for one storm after another. So let's get into the timing of this whole mess. Tonight through Thursday morning, the focus is on that snow and wintry mix across the Carolinas and Virginia, bringing 1 to 2 inches and that threat of ice. By Thursday afternoon, the Alberta Clipper starts to dive into upper Michigan, spreading snow across places like Green Bay and Marquette. As it moves southeast, it will spread through lower Michigan, from Grand Rapids down to the Detroit area, bringing a fresh round of accumulation and those powerful wind gusts. As that Clipper system moves through, it will clear the way for the main event, the coldest air of the entire winter so far. By Saturday morning, the bottom is going to fall out. Wind chills across Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and upstate New York are forecast to drop to an excruciating 15 to 30 degrees below zero. By Sunday morning, places near Albany and Buffalo could see wind chills approach an unbelievable 30 to 40 below. That is not just cold. It's dangerously cold for anyone to be outside. With those wind gusts topping 50 miles per hour across the Great Lakes on Friday, we have to talk about the threat of snow squalls. These are intense, localized bursts of heavy snow and wind that can drop visibility to near zero in a matter of minutes. Driving conditions can go from perfectly fine to a total whiteout in the blink of an eye. This is the leading edge of that Arctic front, and it is packing a serious punch. And the timing couldn't be worse, as this all lines up with travel plans for Super Bowl Sunday. Now let's take a quick but very important safety break, because this matters more than any forecast number. If you are using a generator because of a power outage, it must be outside and far away from any windows or doors. No exceptions. Carbon monoxide is a silent killer. You can't see it or smell it, and it claims lives every single winter. And please, take a moment to check on your neighbors, especially the elderly or anyone who lives alone. A quick phone call can make a world of difference in weather like this. And one more thing, please make sure you have an emergency kit in your car. It doesn't have to be fancy, just some blankets, extra water, a flashlight, and a phone charger. If your car breaks down in wind chills of 30 below zero, a simple inconvenience can become a life-threatening situation very quickly. And of course, bring your pets inside. If it's too cold for you to stand outside for 10 minutes, it's definitely too cold for them. My dog took one look at this forecast and hasn't left the couch since Monday. Alright, let's get to the part of the forecast that I know everyone is waiting for. When does this brutal cold finally break? And the good news is, there's a major pattern change on the horizon. But first, we have to get through one more potential monster storm. Multiple computer models are flagging a significant storm system developing right around Valentine's Day, between February 13th and 15th. This has the potential to be a very big deal for a huge part of the country, so you'll want to pay close attention to this. Here's where it gets really interesting, because the two main long-range models are showing two different scenarios. The GFS model tracks the storm further south, which would mean more significant snow for places like Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, and the Carolinas. But the European model has it cranking up into a classic, full-blown nor'easter, which would bring heavy, crippling snow to the mid-Atlantic and northeast, right around the 5/10. It's a situation we are watching with extreme interest right now. Now, I want to be completely upfront with you. We are still about 8 to 10 days away from this potential Valentine's Day system, and the exact track and intensity can and likely will shift. But the fact that both models, run after run, keep showing a major storm signal in the same time frame is a huge red flag. On the warm side of this potential storm, we could even see the return of severe weather, with strong thunderstorms possible from the Ohio River Valley all the way through the southeast. A very dynamic setup. So even if you're not in the path of this week's storms, you need to keep your guard up. The signal remains strong for a major winter event to unfold sometime in mid to late February, especially for the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, and all of New England. Winter is absolutely not done with us yet, not by a long shot. The pattern looks to stay very active and volatile right into March, so don't put those snow shovels and winter coats away just yet. The next few weeks could be very, very active across the country. Alright, let's quickly recap the 5 biggest things you need to have on your radar. Number 1 is tonight's sneaky snow and ice threat across the Carolinas and Virginia. Number 2 is the Thursday and Friday Clipper system, bringing a few inches of snow, but, more importantly, those 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Number 3 is the weekend Arctic blast, which will bring the coldest air of the season, with dangerous wind chills of 30 to 40 below zero for parts of the Northeast, just in time for Super Bowl Sunday. And finally, number 4 is the brief but dramatic mid-February warm-up that will follow this cold blast, with some areas seeing record-breaking warmth. And number 5, the one we are all watching, is that Valentine's Day storm signal, where both major weather models are hinting at a major system that could bring significant snow to the east and severe weather to the south. We'll be watching the model runs very closely tonight. If this forecast helped you out, hit that like button. Stay warm, stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.